is brought to you by Empower Media LLC, where we empower you, parents, and the entire community with transformative information to move mind and spirit to a higher state of well-being. So welcome to the Empower Room, and let's get started.
Well, welcome to the Empower Room with Fred, and this is our second show of 2021, and we're so excited to be with you all again in the Empower Room Sunday, and we thank you all for joining us. I hope that you were having a great weekend and a great week in Texas right now, and believe it or not, it's been snowing, so that's kind of a rarity for us that we have snow. But I want to welcome you to the Empower Room today. We do meet every Sunday at 3:30 p.m. And the Empower Room does Empowering Moment. And I'm your host, Reverend Timothy Hughes. I go by Rev T, and we ask you to please like our page, share our page, follow us. We do this every Sunday at 3:30. Empower Media LLC is a social empowerment entity, and we empower community through social and digital media, book publishing, programs, and speaking engagement. We have over 25 years of experience, and our website is empowermediallc1.com. That's empowermediallc1.com, and that is actually spelled MPWR Media LLC. Okay, MPWR. So it's a play on words. MPWR Media LLC. You go MPWR Media LLC 1.com for our website, and you'll be able to see all of our services. We also have a store page where we, on last year, launched our first magazine, which is available in paper and also in the e-version available on our website. So you're welcome to go to our website and see that the entire website. If you go to empowermediallc1.com. If you also would like a paper version of the magazine, we do have that available as well. This is our first edition with a cover story on Sarah Collins Rudolph. That was a really outstanding interview and article that we were able to do with her, and she's been in the Empower Room with us. Sarah Collins Rudolph is the fifth little girl who was in the 16th Street Baptist bombing in Birmingham, Alabama. And an outstanding woman to have met. Just truly blessed every time we have the opportunity to talk. She will be coming back into the Empower Room in February, so look forward to her coming back. So our second edition will be coming out in February, mid-February, so I want to encourage everyone to be looking out for that, and we'll keep you posted on that as well. Also, was blessed to publish my first book, In the Blink of an Eye. This is a true story of an out of this world experience that I had that is available on Amazon. So I encourage you to go to Amazon and purchase the book. So many people have given us so much great feedback so far on the book, and I want to thank everyone who has purchased so far. And I want to encourage you to please, if you haven't purchased, go to Amazon.com. In the Blink of an Eye is the name of the book, and it is available in paperback and Kindle ebook as well. So if you have a Kindle, you can download it and read it. It was designed for you to read in one setting, to share the story, the testimony of my experience on February 14, 2014, taking my wife out to see Maze in concert, which we did not get a chance to go see. So if you read the story, you'll understand why. All right, but it's truly a story, and I thank all those that have commented and shared thus far. All right, so in the Empower Room, what we do is we cover three areas: cultural moment, civic moment, and inspirational moment. And today, with all this going on, I think we're going to go straight to the inspirational moment because we have some phenomenal guests that are with us this afternoon. Not like we don't always do every week, but I just want to really take time for us to really flush out the conversation that we're going to have today in light of what has taken place in our country and with all that's going on. We've got, COVID rates, the death total now 371,000 plus. Regarding that, we had the insurrection on Wednesday. But the blessing is in Georgia. We want to thank Georgia. Hallelujah. Thank you, Georgia, for the election that took place. And we now can say we have U.S. Senator-elect Reverend Raphael Warnock and also John Ossoff, who will be taking the helm in D.C. So grateful for all that, with all that's going on. I think that's going to be a true blessing to our nation. So, without further ado, as you see, there are two gentlemen that are with us on screen that I want to bring in, and I want to thank them so much for taking time out of their busy schedule for joining us, and so grateful for this opportunity, and thank them so much for them coming on with us to be part of this dialogue, this conversation. So who we have with us, for those of y'all that may not know, is we have Charles Alphin Sr., who served as police officer for over 26 years in the St. Louis City Police Department, St. Louis, Missouri. During his police career, he served as patrol officer, detective, juvenile officer, sergeant, platoon lieutenant, and captain, serving in the rank of captain last year of his career. He was commander of homicide/rape and child abuse, district commander, and retired as commander of vice/narcotics. In 1992, after retirement from the St. Louis City Police Department, and at the request of Mrs. Coretta Scott King, Captain Alphin and his wife moved to Atlanta to work at the Martin King Center for Nonviolent Social Change Incorporated. He works as a trainer in the Kingian Nonviolence. In 1994, was promoted to Director of Education and Training for the King Center. In 1996, he retired from the King Center and joined Lafayette and Associates, continuing in the Kingian Nonviolence training. Dr. Bernard Jr. served on the executive staff of Martin Luther King Jr. and trained Captain Alphin in the philosophy and methodology of Kingian nonviolence in the late 1970s. Presently, Mr. Alphin serves as senior trainer for Lafayette and Associates and senior trainer for the King Center, Atlanta, Georgia. He is also conference director and member of the Global Nonviolence Conference Series, chaired by Dr. Bernard Lafayette Jr., and he is married to Joyce and the father of two children, and presently lives in Atlanta, Georgia. Right, so I wish I had a pause that I could do, but I know you, and I'm excited to have you on board, and I'll share our connection after I introduce your son, Charles Alphin Jr.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Building Life Foundation's Nonviolence Center in St. Louis and vice president of DDK Historical and Educational Tours. He is a certified trainer in Kingian Nonviolence, completing over 160 hours in Kingian Nonviolence core curriculum. He taught this philosophy nationally in South Africa, Ghana, and Nigeria, and is an intervention and prevention method in psychological and physical violence. He has done Kingian nonviolence training for many organizations throughout St. Louis and other parts of the country. And we're just so blessed to have him with us as well. And he presently resides in O'Fallon, Missouri, and is married to Michelle Alphin with two sons, Austin and Caleb. So I want to thank you all so much for being with us today. And I think it's so befitting because the conversation, I had been in conversation with Chuck Alphin Jr. in regard to us being able to meet about a couple of months ago, not knowing that, we would be sitting where we're sitting contextually right now. So I want to thank you all so much. And I was blessed to take part in the Kingian Nonviolence training back in 2012, July of 2012. And I will tell you that it is a life-changing experience. It was through the Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I was trained with Ferguson Florissant School District, other staff from Ferguson Florissant School District, and we did a completion of the 5-day Kingian Nonviolence Education and Practice Teaching certification that was presented to me, moi, the 13th day of July 2012 in St. Louis, Missouri. And here is the certificate just to verify that I made it because it was intense. Amen. I mean, the training, y'all, it's like, it's some serious training. It really is. And I'm so grateful that I had that experience. And it's just so befitting that we're here today to dialogue about the Kingian nonviolence philosophy. So I want to thank y'all so much for being with us today. All right. So y'all can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. All right. So how are you all doing? I mean, with all this going on, I mean, we got COVID-19, we've got the insurrection that happened on this past Wednesday. You know, how are you all doing? How are we doing here in 2021? Who wants to go first?
Well, I'm optimistic. And as Dr. King said, the darkest part of midnight is just before the break of dawn. So I have my hope, my inspiration. I think we as a people can solve these problems.
Okay. I agree. Brother Chuck?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us on, Tim. You know, with COVID times and everything, I try not to live in fear. I take suggestions of what, you know, the health department says. Keep my 6 feet, keep my mask up. You know, presently I am the director of a Boys and Girls Club out here in O'Fallon, Missouri. So I'm with a lot of kids a lot of times and just been blessed to continue to stay healthy here.
All right, understand.
So things are going well here in O'Fallon with my family.
Awesome, very good. Good to hear that. All right, so before we get into the topic of discussion today in regard to the Kingian nonviolence philosophy, what are your thoughts, Captain Alphin, in regard to the insurrection that took place on this past Wednesday? Definitely from your background, being a retired captain in St. Louis Police Department, what are your thoughts or assessment, if you will, of what happened?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say hello to the audience and thank you, Reverend T, for this opportunity. My feelings are, I'm disgusted. I am appalled. I have suspicions of the lack of preparing for a problem. And as we say in law enforcement, it's selective law enforcement. Selective law enforcement means that normally the Black community gets over patrolled, enforced. White privilege is still alive and well. And as I look and study and talk to my law enforcement colleagues, there's something missing that our government can't protect a building. We know, I've been part of details and protection of the president, and we know how to protect and why it didn't happen on June the 6th. And the stories I'm hearing, we have to now wait and make sure we pay attention to the news because there's something coming out that we all should be in shock of.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's really each day it's like, it's amazing to hear the stories that we're hearing in regard to the missed chain of commands in the various departments that had to do with what took place on that day. And it's like, there that appears to be kind of by design, for all these things to have failed the way they did. And I pray that all that had a hand in creating that lack of change and be dealt with the way they should be dealt with.
Yeah, Reverend T, and the Capitol Police, about 2,000, they go to the best training academy in the world, the FBI Training Academy.
Really?
They have the park police, they have the helicopters, they have the Washington, D.C., they have over 6,000 officers that they can call will help.
Mm-hmm.
And why that call was refused to help, why that alarm for the building didn't go off and require the fire department to come, all these questions had to come from somebody higher. And that's what we need to look at. And also, my brother Malcolm Nance, who's a retired Navy counter-terrorist, said we have to scrub who we have in law enforcement. And we can talk about that because we have some undesirables that have slipped in.
Understand.
And are doing things out of the character. In fact, I understand that there were some off-duty firemen and police officers using their badge to get in. So all that's rumors, but it's going to come out. And so we need to just make sure that we're dealing with something very serious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I pray that it will be handled with, the all the intensity and all the intelligence that we have to be able to it be handled the way it should be handled. That's for sure.
And Reverend T, I just heard on the news today that one of the Capitol Police officers that was at that June the 6th committed suicide off duty last night.
Really? Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting, man. Yeah, these are some serious times. These are some serious times. So, we'll be definitely continue to have an ear and to pay close attention to what's going on. I even heard that President Trump was coming to Laredo, Texas, to go to the border this week, and I'm like, excuse me. I mean, I don't think that's a wise idea. So I'm like, whoa, this is very, very interesting times we're dealing with.
Well, he's trying to. His strategy is to deflect and take our vision off of what he's doing. So this is a strategy in deflection.
Okay, I see.
We have to be clear that we don't play into his game because he's doing this to deflect from the tremendous pressure and the criminal violations that he's facing.
I see. Understand. Makes sense from his way he operates. It unfortunately makes sense in a very sad way. But let's move on to the Kingian nonviolence philosophy. We know that Dr. King's birthday is coming up, and as I reflect on his life, him being born January 15, 1929, assassinated on 4/4/68. What I like to do is put things in context for me. So I was not even 5 years old yet when he passed, So, but the impact of his life still benefits me today. I mean, literally to this very day. I mean, where I'm working currently, what I'm doing, and all that stems from his leadership in the civil rights movement.
Absolutely.
And that's for all of us, for us being able to vote. I mean, what happened in Georgia? I mean, my God. I mean, and my struggle through the presidential election was trying to encourage those persons that had apathy about voting, and trying to get them to understand the historical understanding of how we have struggled to get to the point to be able to vote, you know, and all that. So all that stems from the civil rights movement and Dr. King's leadership in the civil rights movement and sacrifice. Not only him, but Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who I was blessed to meet through you all as well, through the training. And I mean, when I was with all of y'all, literally, I was in awe to be able to hear the stories of what you all have experienced, and especially with Dr. Lafayette and all that. I mean, we are we are blessed with some great wisdom from some great people, including you all.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that.
And I'm glad that you brought it up, Reverend T, because our young people today say, well, what did the civil rights movement produce?
Yes, sir.
And whether you're in anywhere in the United States, Montgomery produced the right for you to ride on a bus and sit where you want to sit.
Yes, sir.
Montgomery.
Yes, sir.
Birmingham produced the right for the Civil Rights Act, that you could go into a store and try on clothing.
Yes, sir.
And sit at a counter.
Yes.
And as you know, Birmingham closed up for 6 years rather than play in the park with blacks. When you go to a park, a library, all that comes from Birmingham. And then Selma is the right to participate in government. The Constitution gave us the right to vote, but the states were taking our right away from us by asking us questions like how many bubbles in a bar of soap.
Crazy, right.
The Constitution. So therefore, all that Dr. King did through nonviolence created us a better world for us to live in 2021.
Yeah, I agree. And so with that, who would like to tell us more about the Kingian nonviolence philosophy and what that philosophy is all about? Chuck, would you like to do that?
Well, I can actually start on it and tell my perspective of how the philosophies worked for me in my life. And, the philosophy for me is a way of life, because Dr. King had 6 steps and 6 principles. Did you ask me? 6 steps and 6 principles that we use that we're going to not get into, but if you get into one of our training classes, which we'll talk about a little later, you'll be able to understand the steps and principles. But again, it's a way of life for me, and it's how I apply it in everyday living. People say, Dr. King's not here anymore. It's no good. But I apply this philosophy at home, at work. I use it in my everyday life with my conflict that I deal with my wife, or anybody else that I deal with any type of conflict. The philosophy is the rules of life for me. And I don't just train this. It's a way that I live the philosophy. It's a pathway for me. I like to say it has now become a pilgrimage for me. It's not a journey. Pilgrimage is, I start from one position from where I was, never to return from where I come from. With a journey, I start at one position only to return back to that same position. So for me, the nonviolent philosophy works on me, and I also learned how to apply it in everyday situation. I've used this in all types of different disciplines, in substance abuse, when we teach it in substance abuse, and we also teach this in colleges. We like to say this goes from the streets to the suites. So someone with a PhD to nobody, we can learn and teach the same philosophy. It's kind of like the rules of any type of baseball game or football game that you play. It has rules. And here's the rules in this philosophy, you're going to have success. So
understand. Yeah, that I was thinking back, Chuck, because you did a presentation in McCool South Berkeley when I was there, and I'm sure you remember. And I think the staff was taken that they thought that they needed to really, you needed more assistance with being able to control the auditorium, because the auditorium was full of students. I mean, it had to be about 300 students, if I'm thinking correctly, and you handled it, and I think that comes from, I'm sure, part of your DNA from your daddy, but at the same time, I think it also was part of that training that you have too, and how you were able to work that auditorium that day. I mean, I think that blew a lot of people away on how you shared and how you imparted those principles of nonviolence on that day. And I think that was around Dr. King holiday celebration that we wanted to have you all to come in and give the students a taste of the philosophy for sure.
Yes, I'm proud of my son because he's taken up after me and has done a lot of things in St. Louis. So I'm proud of him. But nonviolence is universal, and it can be applied in social change and also relationships with each other. So therefore, we teach students how do you deal with conflicts in your school, on the way to school, the teacher, the family, and then if you see something in the community you don't like, how do you change it? Black on black crime is a symptom of a much bigger cause.
Right.
Homicide, a symptom of a much bigger cause. Racism. So if you deal with the symptoms, you never get down to the core to solve it. And Dr. King and Gandhi never dealt with symptoms. So we teach people how to identify what's driving the behavior in that community and begin to go to the core cause of it, to correct it, to reconcile it, not resolve it. There's a big difference between reconciliation and resolution.
Yes, sir.
So reconciliation, as Dr. King and Gandhi profess, they want to not win over your opponent, but to win your opponent over. So your goal in a conflict is not to win over your opponent, but to win your opponent over. In policing, we teach policing. I've written books on policing and nonviolence. Is how do you de-escalate in a conflict? Sometimes the officer escalates the conflict. So how do you de-escalate and still achieve the same purpose that you're there for?
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So so in the current social and political climate, how can the Kingian nonviolence philosophy be applied? I'm hearing the various aspects that you all have shared thus far, but give us some examples of where it has worked. Because I know you all have done this training all over the world. So like in Africa and in Nigeria and so can you and Ferguson, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Was it also in Ferguson with relation to
Yes.
okay. So could you share an
Yes. Yes. Well, I'll start and let Chuck talk a little bit about Ferguson, but basically my first trip out of the United States was to Russia, the old Soviet Union, because in 1991 and 90, they wanted to go from a communist to a, quote, democracy. And how do you do that? So I went and did lecturing at Moscow University, taught this philosophy in the Soviet Union. When the tanks invaded Russia, I was there to show how you de-escalate. I've been in Cuba 4 times. We've done this in South America with the FARC, the guerrillas. They're now participating with the government in Colombia and Medellin. I've been in Nigeria where we dealt with the Delta, where the people were polluting their oil, and the lakes, the oil companies were polluting in the lakes, and the guerrillas were fighting them. We trained over 300,000 guerrillas in Nigeria, and tomorrow I'll be on a Zoom with the people that we trained in Nigeria for Dr. King's celebration in the Delta. Wow. And then in South Africa, I spent 4 months in South Africa just before Mandela was selected president. We talked about South Africa. How do you respond to violence? What do you do when you have violence and when somebody drives by the schoolyard and just kills all the students in the schoolyard? That was what we were facing in South Africa. So this has worked in South Africa, India, all over the world, you name it. And it's a universal application with people who are having conflict. And Chuck, you can continue from there. Chuck?
Yeah. So when we talked about coming into Ferguson, we definitely had I was what you call the ground front person, looking to find out. And in Kingian Nonviolence, it's all about gathering information first, and not just gathering the information from my standpoint or my point of view. It's gathering information from both sides of the conflict. And I had to be a biased person going in looking to find out what's going on. So when it first started out, I was at ground zero. Most of the time, ended up finding some key players and key role leaders that were involved, and one that we could basically come in and talk with some folks. Ended up picking up Pastor Tracy Blackman and Reverend Starsky with this, and also we went into a college, Fontbonne College, and also the community college, St. Louis Community College as well, and used the church as an opportunity to disseminate and educate the people about what's going on, giving them how do we apply Dr. King's philosophy in this. We talked with gang leaders, we talked with local schools. We went into Riverview Gardens School District, ultimately ended up educating the kids there, brought in Miss King, Bernice King, and had her go into the school with us. And we ultimately, Mrs. King invited students from Riverview Gardens High School to come to the Greatness Dinner. So they had an opportunity to participate in a Greatness Dinner and also a civil rights educational historical tour where they were giving information on how this can apply in their everyday life, and use the Mike Brown situation together to organize community and go further from that point. So I think it was a combination of bringing people in, educating people, and if we don't say it, we want to say right now, training and education is the very key to things making a change in the civil rights movement. And it's probably it was the most important thing. It's training. How do you respond, and what do you do in conflict using this philosophy? So it was very important that we get it to the masses here. Still continuing to get into the masses here. And currently we are taking students from University City, Rockwood, Rittner High School on these different educational historical tours. So that's how we continue to educate people on how do you use this and how can this apply in today's society and a lot of things that's happening. A lot of times we say we don't like to put out forest fires, but we plant trees as nonviolence trainers, meaning that it's proactive and not reactive. So even though some things may not be happening at this point in time, we need to always be continuing to be proactive and teach this philosophy to others so that when there is something that happens in the community or happens, we know how to address it using these 6 principles and 6 steps of nonviolence.
Reverend Pete, let me give you an example quickly because I'll be remiss. When Chuck says being proactive, in the community we live in, we know children who will be dead or in the penitentiary in 5 years. The question is, what are we doing about it? Besides having the funerals and the mothers crying and the burials. And Dr. King said, we know the school has system. The school system knows the students. The police department goes to their house every weekend, 3 or 4 times. And the social agencies know them. So being proactive is identify those students that we know are going to fall through the cracks. And let's save them. The other thing that we need to talk about is economic. Dr. King, a lot of times we forget that Dr. King was talking about economic development.
Right.
In these communities, we went out to Rodney King out in California when he was at brutality beaten by the police. And we looked at the Crips and Bloods and brought them to Atlanta. And they had an economic program in Watts where they began to develop the economic program. We told them, if you're going to fight because your mother doesn't get the money she's supposed to get when she goes to work every day. That's what you fight for. In New York, we were able to bring in the gang members And in Atlanta, Dr. King looked at and orchestrated the Operation Breadbasket. That's why Atlanta is the economic mecca of the world economically. It should have been Birmingham. Atlanta's 2 hours from Birmingham. It was the leadership. Andrew Young, Maynard Jackson, Dr. King. And that's why it's the mecca, because Dr. King said, we need, when you do nonviolence in the community, there has to be a parallel of economic development. You just can't say no to drugs. It sounds cheap, but it won't work. You have to give people a choice.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that, because I read Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos of Our Community, the book. Man, that to me should be a must read for every student, period.
Yes.
That should be a must read for every student. I'm just not saying Black students. I'm saying every student needs to read that book when they're in high school, middle school, whatever. That should be a required reading.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
so Dr. King was ahead of himself. He was way ahead. When you read his books in the 60s, they are so applicable for the 20th century, 21st century.
Yes,
sir. So he was a prophet.
Truly that, without a doubt. So what's coming up next, or what are something specific coming up? I know probably with COVID-19 that's may have deterred some of the things that you all have normally do, but are there any specific or things or annual things that you do that are coming up, or anything of that nature that you could share?
Absolutely. I'm one of the senior trainers at the King Center, and Atlanta moves into Dr. King's celebration. Okay. As you know, we celebrate on the 15th, but he was born on January the 15th. We celebrate on the 18th. Is it the 18th? Yes. And that's because of the federal government, but he was born on the 15th at 12 o'clock. And when he was born, his name was Michael, not Martin. He was born Michael, not Martin. His daddy changed his name to Martin when he was 5 years old. But we have a whole celebration all week long at the King Center. And they have virtual training. They have virtual speakers. The ecumenical service is going to be virtually. And I think Reverend T.D. Jakes is going to be the speaker. You can go on kingcenter.org and find out all the activity that we have, because Atlanta just lights up with activity. And it's not to have a day on, it's to be a day. Mrs. King said, don't have a day off. This is a day on. So help somebody, do some community work, but then get inspiration through what you'll see virtually through the King Center Network, kingcenter.org.
Okay, kingcenter.org. Okay, that's good to know. Kingcenter.org, and I've been on my page in regard to that. Okay. All right. So,
hey, Tim, Reverend Tim.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, I'm also doing a Zoom class with Reverend Tracy Blackman and her organization. We'll be doing that on the 18th. It'll be a 4-hour orientation. So she'll probably post it out there on some of her links and that whatnot. And then also we're looking at a little bit later down, hopefully in the summer of this year coming up, to do Victory Over Violence. We've been shut down at least twice setting the Victory Over Violence up. So be on the lookout for something of that nature, where we'll be bringing together different genres of music together and having just a awareness about nonviolence and what we call love never fails, the ethics of love. So we'll talk about all of that. And then at the same time, it's a big community event that will happen. That'll be free probably in the late part of August of this year. So.
All right. Sounds good. And I'm grateful to know both of you all. I've admired your relationship, for father-son relationship, from afar and close up. And I have been blessed to have Chuck Alphin Jr. on our Key to Life radio show and on WGNU in St. Louis when we were in St. Louis a number of times. work with you at McCool South Berkeley. And it's just been a gem to know your family, you know, and to hang out with you guys and be able to learn about Kingian violence philosophy. Again, I'm going to hold up my certificate. See, here it is right here. All right, Emory University, yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. And we're going to have a staff development for those people too, so stay tuned.
We'll do. We'll do.
Yes.
I'm in Texas now, so maybe we can get some things hooked up here. If you haven't already, let's see what we can do while I'm here in the Dallas Fort Worth area.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all so much. I do have information how people can get in contact with the Building Life Foundation Nonviolence Center that Chuck Alphin would be the contact for. So if anyone is interested in learning more about the Kingian nonviolence philosophy, the principles, please make sure that you take this phone number down that is on your screen, which is 314-680-7533. That's 314-680-7533. Or there's also their website, which is BLFNVcenter.com. Did I get it right, Chuck?
That's correct. BLFNVcenter.com.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right. So
Reverend,
yes.
Reverend T, that also will get in touch with Dr. Lafayette and myself.
Okay.
I do what my son says do. My daddy's following the son now, so he controls my schedule. And when he asks me to jump, I say how high. So they can also contact me through that number.
Okay, contact. Awesome. So they're both available. Charles Alphin Sr. Is available at that number as well. And please tell Dr. Lafayette I said hello. And we hope to work some things out with you all with our next issue coming up. I see all three of you all on the front, if the Lord says the same issue. Amen.
Amen.
That's a powerful pick, man. That's just gonna blow people away. So I pray it all comes together.
Okay.
All right. Well, I thank you all so much again for being with us. I think this is so appropriate during this season right now and what has happened in our country, and in remembrance of Dr. King, and to see his philosophy in the civil rights movement. I guess the results of the civil rights movement still moving on today through what you all are doing all over the world. So God bless you all. Keep up the good work, and anything that Power can do, anything I can do, please let me know. I'm available. All right.
Thank you very much, and God bless.
All right. Well,
thanks for having us.
And thank you for working with me today. And we will definitely have you all back again in the future for sure.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
God bless.
Y'all have a blessed one. All
You
right.
too.
Take care. All right. Thank you. All righty. So, man, that was an awesome dialogue today. I'm so grateful that we were blessed to have such outstanding guests with us today in the Empower Room, Chuck and Charles Alphin Sr. I have known Chuck for a number of years, and I met his dad through the training that I went through in Ferguson, Florissant School District through Emory University for certification. For the Kingian Nonviolence Education and Practice Training, teaching certification. And I tell you, the training is really, it's spiritual in a sense as well, just like Chuck was saying, it's a way of life, and it really is. And when you are in the training, you feel that experience, and it really takes you to some places that fulfills you in a way that you didn't know you needed to be fulfilled. That's a good way, I think, for me to kind of explain the training, all right, in regard to what we experienced. So I pray that you were blessed by that engagement. Again, I want to encourage you to get more information by going to Building Life Foundation Nonviolence Center. The phone number again is 314-680-7533. Or you can go to the website at blfnvcenter.com. All right. And they will be more than happy to share with you what they can, share with you how you can learn more about the philosophy, how you may want to get trained in the 6 principles as well, and all that. And they do an outstanding, thorough job with that. And I guarantee you that training is really life-changing. So I want to just encourage you to please consider that as we are now in 2021. I think it's a great goal to achieve. All right, so thank you all again for being with us today. Next week we are going to kind of go, I think, through an entertainment type of dialogue on next week, if everything the Lord says the same. And so we look forward to being back with you all again on next week at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And also there will be a special presentation that will be coming up midweek as well in relation to the new movie that came out, New Husband for Christmas, which is produced and directed by well, I know the producers are native St. Louisans, and I know the director has lived in St. Louis as well. So, and the film was also filmed in St. Louis. So, look forward to sharing that with you all midweek. All right. So, stick with us. Thank you for being with us in the Empower Room. We'll hope to see you all again on next Sunday. Please like our page, share our page, follow us. We're working on our YouTube page as well. And if you could subscribe to our channel and set your notifications for our channel on YouTube as we work out the kinks in regard to that channel, that so we can build that up as well, because we do have some plans coming up. We were hoping to start in January, but we will definitely be introducing some things within the first quarter of 2021. All right. So thank you again. God bless you. All have a wonderful rest of the week and enjoy your Sunday. And let's pray that all is handled the way it needs to be handled in relation to our social cultural context that we're dealing with from DC. All right. Amen. So thank you all. God bless and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Sunday.
Welcome to the Empower Room. Thank you for joining us in the Empower Room. Hope you have received some impactful information. Please like or leave a comment. See you next week in the Empower Room, brought to you by Empower Media LLC and your host, Reverend Timothy Hughes, aka Rev T.